the bookstore and then immediately started there. So there wasn't a whole lot of like leeway where I can relax. I kind of wish that I did that in hindsight, but you need money.
Understood. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Um, so yeah, a lot of upselling that I didn't realize it was that competitive. But I only asked about the pet job there because I mean, just telling by your art, this is not somebody that I would assume is like in charge of taking care of animals. I would assume that you would have worked in like a tattoo shop or something. And telling by your voice too, like I would figure that that this would be more in line with something like that.
Yeah, no, I'm very scared of I'm scared of tattoos and working on a canvas that's not um paper or artboard or digital. If it's like skin, I think I think I'd pass out in front of my client if I were to do something like that. So, yeah. I've been asked many times to kind of dip my toes into the realm of tattooing, but I get so scared, man. Like I don't know how other people do that. It's so admirable how other people do that.
I mean, you could. I think there's like different. You could buy like test skin, like not like artificial skin, but like I'm pretty sure there's like cuts of pork that you can get that are specifically for training. I think it's tattoo training pig skin. Yeah, you can get like cuts of like pig skin, and then well, maybe not a whole pig like that, but
Yeah.
um, but you could certainly get like wait, are those Nazi tattoos? Oh, okay. Oh, I thought I thought I
Oh,
saw
okay.
I thought I saw a
Okay.
swastika there.
I did a double take at that, and I got a little scared.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, there's like cuts you can get that are specifically for like the training. But yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like I wouldn't even know what kind of frame of mind it would take to work on a person because that's permanent of permanent. Like if you fuck that up, my God, man,
Yeah.
that's like there forever unless they get it removed with laser, and that's even more painful, more costly for them.
Yeah, and that's the worst thing about it too, is because I have very jittery hands, and I kind of make up for it with like how I kind of lay paint on on canvas. Um, it's very sporadic. Um, the like, I think needles also are just a very. It makes me very squeamish, and I think I saw a video of like it was like a tattoo gun, and it was going in like I think silicone or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but it was a very close up shot of this, and yeah, I don't. Now every time someone gets a tattoo or I see someone with a tattoo, I think of that, and yeah, they're braver than me for sure. But yeah.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. And in terms of your experience as an artist, where did this style come from? Because I saw in one of the posts on your like Godzilla paintings, you mentioned that like you like watched the movies or something as a kid, and it kind of scared you, so you were kind of drawn to that subject for your pieces. But where did this all start for you? Were you just like drawing in school and then eventually decided to take it up, or?
Yeah, so it started very young. I was surrounded by family that like knew how to draw super well. Um, my older brothers were like really good at it. I never really like understood the the concept of like doing that kind of stuff. So I never thought I could do anything like that. So I would always ask them to draw stuff for me because there are things that like I also grew up reading comic books as well. But there's some things in comic books where I'm like, I want to see more of this. Uh, and I would always ask them to do drawings of those kinds of requests. And it just got to a point where they just didn't want to do it anymore because I can't really blame them. It's it. I imagine it was very exhausting for a little kid to be like, "Hey, can you draw me? Can you draw me Darth Vader fighting Green Goblin?"
Draw me Naruto and Spider Man.
Yeah, like I like I can't imagine how nerve-wracking that was, but uh eventually they just kind of like stopped doing it. I eventually stopped asking, and then I kind of dipped my toes into drawing stuff a little bit. It started out with Spider-Man and Batman and stuff like that, with completely awful proportions. Of course, that's kind of natural because I think I was like 4 at the time, drawing stuff in daycare. It looked worse than that, I
Yeah,
would say.
kind of like Spooderman. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. It didn't look too far from that second picture there.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, and then I got pretty into monster trucks, and then I wanted to draw monster trucks, and I felt like the since I drew things with like a box body, trucks were so easy to draw when I was a child. So it was very it was it was very accessible for me to just kind of do uh drawings of trucks. And then I kind of grew up and watched more movies. Uh and then I had a really awful dream one night at my old house. I had a dream that there was like a giant dinosaur in like the parking lot, and it was like slowly approaching me. And
Hmm.
we had no doors in the house because of course there wasn't. There's no doors in the house. I couldn't go downstairs. My room is upstairs, and I was just basically waiting to like die from this like giant dinosaur. So it was that for like what felt like an hour. Uh, and then I woke up, and I'm like, that was probably one of the worst dreams I might have like ever had in my whole life. And it still sticks with me. It's so vivid to me now. And there's one there's like one part like right before I woke up. It was my recent the recent painting of Godzilla that I did. It was very close to that, where like the dinosaurs, I was like looking directly at me, like they were already there, and I thought they were gone. It's like that classic horror movie jump scare kind of thing. And yeah, it was like a horrible nightmare. I don't think I've had a nightmare as bad as that, but I think that was also because like I've kind of subjected myself to a lot of like horror movies and like monster movies now that I'm older, and like now Godzilla's like a huge part of my life. Like I don't think I could live without Godzilla at this point.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, take that. That's I guess that's one way of mastering your fear because like there's not really like they like to say that like whatever you're afraid of you should expose yourself to, but like short of going to like a dinosaur museum, there's not really anything that you could do or like I don't know watch Jurassic Park 3D I guess on loop
Yeah.
until you beat it.
Yeah. It was more so just doing like tiny comic books or small scenarios from like Star Wars, because then I grew older and I realized that Star Wars was a thing. My first movie was Revenge of the Sith. I'm sorry everybody, but it'll hold a huge place in my heart. But the original trilogy is better though. I will say. Uh, but I watched Revenge of the Sith in theaters, and I thought it was such an amazing movie because of the lightsaber fights,
Hmm.
and I kind of fixated on that, and that was kind of all I drew for a very long time. And Star Wars was like a huge part of my life, and then eventually I kind of grew out of it. And I had a little bit of a break when it came to art because I felt like there wasn't really anything that I wanted to do with it. And also like the feeling of like I need to do things for like money and stuff like that kind of came in, and I'm like, I don't know if I would want to do that because I feel like it wouldn't be as fun as I would want it to be. and took a little bit of a break. And then in middle school and high school, I kind of picked it back up again and failed all my art classes
Right on. Right on.
and dropped out of one. And then, or no, sorry, I didn't drop out of one. I opted out of it and then went to like drama class instead because you need a fine arts credit to graduate. So I decided to take drama because the only other option was art, and art was not something that like I found very appealing in I guess in school.
Hmm.
I guess fast forward to college, I went into video game design because I love video games. Video games are another big part of my life. I still play them now. I don't think I'll ever stop playing them though. I wanted to know how they were made, and I wanted to take a class on that. So I took a class on it, and I realized very quickly that I am absolutely incapable of programming anything.
It's
And
hard.
that was, yeah, like that was required to graduate, and I was so shit, and I was like falling behind. I was thinking about like dropping out of college, and then I met some like amazing friends that I still have now. I love them to death. I will die for them. I will do anything for them. They are like my family at this point. I don't feel like I would be here like without them because they have they have supported me so much, and I yeah, there's no way I can repay them other than like what I have been doing. But yeah, I feel like the amount of impact that they've had on me, I don't think I would be able to give back to them like not even a modicum of like of it, unfortunately. But yeah, I met them, and they kind of they kind of encouraged me to stay, like not directly, but like just being around them made me want to stay and stick around and uh actually like learn this kind of medium. And that's when I started to do portraits. And because before I've like portraits were something I never ever wanted to do because it seemed impossible. Uh, Eyes were a hard thing for me to do. They're still kind of hard for me to do, honestly. I think the amount of times I redo an eye is, uh, I would be able to count on like 30 hands. But
Hmm.
the the portraits kind of came in, and I was kind of workshopping, learning how to do portraits, and I started up an Instagram account, and it's no longer there anymore, unfortunately. I got rid of it. And then kind of saw some really cool looking pictures, and then used that as reference, and I would tag the person who like took the picture, and that was kind of how I kind of stuck with it. I wouldn't say that's necessarily healthy to do. I would highly recommend doing portraits because you love doing them rather than like getting likes and stuff or like seeing the number go up. But at this point, I was like, I want to see the number go up. So I just kept doing it. I kept grinding through like the processes of doing portraits, and to the point where like I wouldn't sleep some nights, and it would just carry over from like the night to the morning, and then I wouldn't sleep at all, and then I'd have to go to school, and yeah, it was a mess. But eventually I got rid of it because I realized that I actually like doing portraits, and I'd rather just do them for fun. And if I wanted to post something that I feel like I would like people to see, then I would post those. And then I got into painting Fairly recently, I would probably say about in oh, this might be I actually don't remember. It was less than like 6 years ago. I actually got into painting because color was a very intimidating thing. I'm sure that is relatable for a lot of artists. So I kind of steered away from doing paintings with like full color and just kind of stuck with black and white and then kind of slapped a gradient on it. And then bam, that was my color. But then I kind of wanted to try that out because like learning is kind of learning is a very fun thing for me. Like I love to learn and like learning a style is very fun. And I found that painting still kind of sucks like to this day. Uh but at least I can see an end goal as to like what the painting will look like in my mind and then I can kind of execute it like roughly as to like what it would look like in my mind. Unfortunately, it's like impossible for me to do that, but I do get fairly close. So I'm very satisfied of on that. But yeah, I would study like the brilliant artists like over the years. Like Drew Struzan is like a huge influence on me. Bob Peak is a huge influence on me. Uh, Noriyoshi Orai is a another one. They just do they just like lay paint down and it feels so graceful and it feels like there's so much confidence in it, but it's also like you also see the experience and you see the history of like how it kind of got there. I remember seeing a an hour-long video of Drew concepting a poster for the first Hellboy movie, like from start to finish. He would show like preliminary sketches and like basically kind of give me a glimpse as to like what it would be like to have a client of that degree where you are doing like all these sketches and you are doing like all of these like different changes because like things might not things might work for you but they might not work for the client because the client has a completely different vision as you and you're
Mhm.
just kind of meeting in the middle and he would show his like airbrushing technique. He would show like how the canvas is primed. I use that to this day, like priming a gesso panel, like or I guess a artboard panel with like thick gesso so that the streaks are present in like your paintings is it's so satisfying to look at. It's like it's something so simple, but the way that he uses it it's it's brilliant. Like in some of the paintings, like the gesso is like tracing around like certain structures. Like there will be like a sun in the background and the gesso will be like circled around the sun and it's like it's brilliant. I kind of owe him a lot. I wish I could talk to him or reach out to him or something like that. It'll never happen, but yeah, he has had a huge influence on me. And yeah, like the poster artists of old are just so like legendary and it makes me it makes me very sad to kind of see how posters are nowadays. I'm
Mhm.
not going to uh undermine the talent and the skill that Photoshop users do because that is a talent in itself and I like I admire those people, but there's something about a poster that's hand drawn and it's like it makes you gravitate towards the movie and it makes you want to go see it. And I feel like a lot of movie posters nowadays kind of look like very similar in a way. Sorry if I was rambling there.
No, no, this is what these interviews are for. By all means, ramble away. Um, Yeah, that's quite the history. So yeah, so from what I take, you're mostly like self-trained, um, and no, it's good that you walked me through that work because yeah, like as I saw as I was scrolling from like the beginning with your portrait pieces here, and then going every like closer towards like dealing with more mech stuff, game design, and transitioning like full on to Godzilla mode essentially. No, that's quite a range, man. Um, and honestly, there's nothing particularly wrong, I'd say, for like working for your audience, like as you said, like painting till like 4 a.m. just to see what kind of reaction it would get. That's just like part of the you know exploratory phase. I mean, like how many of us can really say like that we've never posted anything and then immediately gone back to check on it in like 5 minutes and being like, oh, I wonder what kind of reach this got. I wonder how many likes it got.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to like Mr. Beast your whole like online persona to like literally like have a PDF document that outlines exactly like how you maximize the likes and everything. Like there's that like level, but it's I think it's like perfectly fine, like perfectly human to just want to see what kind of an impact your work makes. Um
Yeah.
and no, these portraits are fantastic, man. I love that. And sorry, these are mostly digital, right? These works here.
Yeah. I have like I pretty much exclusively do digital. I've only done like a physical painting, I think about twice.
Hmm.
Uh, it was very fun. It's just really messy, and digital kind of there is no mess. I definitely do strive towards a true to life or true to traditional kind of digital workflow. Uh, but I don't know if that would be a thing. I know Rebel is a thing. Uh, I have that. I have that application. It's really good. The way that the brush engine is in that program is insane. I don't think I've ever seen watercolor paint like in digital like work almost uh, as well as it does in real life. There's also limitations on it, of course, because you need to have a pretty good computer for it, and depending on how much you kind of lay down on a canvas, your program might slow down. Uh, but yeah, like I I would like to start, or I guess start back to doing like gouache and stuff because I only ever done it twice, and it was really fun. I just hate mess, which is which is weird because art is kind of all about mess, but I hate it so much. Like I hate having to clean up after myself after hours and hours of painting.
Yeah, and I mean, especially if you're working with like a limited space and like that one table that you're working on, like that's where you get all your work done. So it's like, oh, great, now I gotta like my everything that I do on this table is now put on pause until I get this like cleaned up. And then a painting might not even be done in one session. It could take days, weeks, however long. So no, I
Yeah.
get that. That's a totally fair sentiment to have. Um, but yeah, speaking of gouache, that actually reminds me. There's an artist here you might have been interacting with already. He does gouache paintings of old video game scenery. So he'll take
Yes.
yeah he'll take
Yeah.
screen caps of various games and then just paint them,
Yeah. It's
which are
absolutely
stunning.
brilliant. It is brilliant. Um, Riker kind of inspired me to dabble in the gouache. I saw I saw their work and I saw that it was very like it's very expressive. I love how the colors just kind of like they just kind of pop, and his uh his way of just kind of it it kind of shows a lot of confidence in the medium as well. Uh that really inspired me to go into doing gouache and then immediately realizing that it's like very hard. So, I love I love seeing his work so much. It is like it brings a smile to my face every time I see it on my timeline. Even even when my timeline is full of awful things.
Oh yeah, no, right. Riker's great. We had him on the show. I think the like 2 episodes ago or something. Yeah, he came on and he essentially broke down his whole like history or his lore rather, where he basically said that he went to art school, was like classically trained, and then to like getting towards the end of his education there, there was this huge emphasis on like painting abstract art. Um, to the point where like even his mentor was like, "Hey man, like this is just the way it goes. You got to get used to it. Um, this is just the dynamic. So you gotta be able to work in this kind of medium." And he's like, "You know what, man? Fuck that. I'm just gonna take all the skills that I've attained throughout the years of being here and paint what I want to paint, which is like silly video game stuff." And he's like, "Wouldn't it be funny, if I took all this training and all these like skills that I've honed over the years and take it to something that's um, seen as foolish as gaming, but the pieces come out like very, very well made. Like
Yeah.
I love seeing a new release on the timeline whenever he has one.
Yeah, like I completely understand where he's coming from for sure. Like there there should never be boundaries when it comes to doing like artwork. If you love doing like a certain kind of artwork or love doing a specific kind of subject, you should be like encouraged to do something like that uh rather than not. Because I feel like that's kind of the whole this kind of the whole point of art is kind of expressing yourself and expressing yourself with these things that you love so much and things that you hold dear to yourself.
Yeah, because that's where all great art comes from, and you can tell just by looking at it, or at least most of the time you can. Um, that this is something that the artist connects with. It just somehow it comes out in the brushstrokes. You can't really put it into words, but you can really tell. Like the way that you said true to life in terms of the kind of work that you do. And even though it is like digital and you can't see like the individual strokes and whatnot, it does come through just with the textures that you've used and the subjects of your paintings. That kind of emotive feeling, like it does come through that this is, even though it is digital, it's something that's seems to be more real than just like digital of like a Photoshop painting or whatnot.
I definitely do feel um I definitely do feel a little out of the loop when it comes to I guess the art, like the realm of making art, because I'm kind of restricting myself to just like one kind of medium, but then uh trying to like stack mediums on that one medium. Because I want to do like I have all these things that I want to do, but I am so like I'm so used to doing digital. So like I am it's gotten to the point where I am comfortable just like I've gotten too comfortable doing digital stuff. And I kind of feel a little bit ashamed of that because I want to do more with like these skills that I've kind of obtained while doing digital art and then kind of applying them to other mediums that aren't digital. But then at the same time, uh, digital is a brilliant tool and you can do so much with it. So it's a constant battle in my head where I feel like I need to do more, but then also like I'm doing enough. It's a constant battle like every day. It's
Yeah, no,
insufferable.
no, fair enough. I mean, The one like technical way that I think that you could potentially bridge that gap is there are people, and this would be like a very labor intensive project, but you could make it so that like the drawing that you do in Photoshop or what have you, um, you could have a 3D printer also, do that, because a 3D printer, it's basically just um, it just squeezes out filament like a tube of toothpaste, and then layers it on top and on top and on top of each other, to make the final piece. But I have seen people that take like markers and they put it inside the 3D printer instead of the plastic filament, and then the marker will like sketch it, and then you could even have a setup where like the colors would switch, or whether it's like a marker or um, spray can or what have you. It would be very difficult to make that kind of a setup, but I feel like that would be like one of the ways that you could do it. So essentially, you would have like the breakdown of all the steps of how you did the painting, remove like all the control Z's, all the undos and everything, and then you just have all this machine code that you pump into the 3D printer, and then you know let it rip.
That seems like a that seems like a very, very cool project. I I'm unsure as to how that would as to how the result would be, but I feel like the result, even if it's like not something that I was looking for, I feel like it would still be very interesting, and I'd probably still work off of that. I imagine 3D printers are probably really expensive though. I don't know much about I don't know much about 3D printers. I have seen like I have seen people work with already 3D printed projects, but like not I rarely ever see things actually get 3D printed. I haven't seen footage of that.
Well, I mean, they're actually
I'm very out of the loop.
no, fair enough. They're actually not all that expensive. I mean, I have one that I got for not even like $200. I mean, it's like a fairly like
Oh,
shitty like beginner printer. Um, the high end models will definitely run you upwards of like 1,000, 2,000.
yeah.
But just a general one, like yeah, a couple $100, you could buy a decent model. I'm trying to find, because I have seen footage of like people using um like doing the setup that I talked about. Let me see if I can somehow find this. Oh. Oh,
Oh,
this is
it's like a 3D pen.
yeah, well this is one where he colors as the filament goes through, the markers will color it. But no, that's not what I meant. I meant like literally putting a marker into the filament and then like switching them out depending on the color, because I've seen that kind of a setup before too. Um
Oh,
yeah. But
that's really cool.
yeah, 3D printing is great, man. It's actually much cheaper than people think. The hard part is like it's getting it set up and then making sure that your bed remains level and that the temperature remains consistent. But once you have that done, like yeah, you could just let the prints run basically 24/7, so long as there's no issues with the settings or anything like that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I heard 3D printer and I immediately was like, that's probably like $2,000. I imagine that like, yeah, it's like you said, the higher grade stuff would be very expensive. I guess it would depend on like, because there's different kinds of material you can put into it. I imagine, yeah, like resin. I know
Yeah,
resin's a popular thing.
resin printers are certainly a thing. They are very difficult to work with in terms of the fact that you're dealing with a whole vat of liquid. So you have to be very careful and make sure that everything is ventilated. Um, Basically, the way that they work is you have
What
the
the
bed.
fuck?
Yeah, yeah. So you have the bed here, which dunks into the pool of resin, and then there's like a UV light that spans like the all the corners here, and then it would essentially zap it for every single layer. So even though this is like sped up, in reality, it's probably something like a quarter of this time. Where's the there we go. It's probably even slower than this. Like it takes a very, very, very long time for resin prints, but um they're very good because they can articulate like very, very, very tiny details, as you see here. Um, but yeah, fairly. I think it's fairly costly as well. And the other issue is after the print is done, you have to deal with all of the artifacts here. So all the supporting lines and everything that's done to make sure that the print stays in place. You got to sand it, like polish it, cure it. It's a whole process for it.
It's like it's like model kits and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, like Warhammer, basically. Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But traditional 3D printers use like a tube of toothpaste. Let me see if I can find a time lapse here. Yeah, basically like this. Although it's not showing the actual bed moving for some reason. That's very strange. Oh, I guess it takes the shot when the line resets. But yeah, it would basically be like this.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
I
there's
see. I think I see the wire, the plastic wire that's like being fed into it.
yeah, yeah. You can get all sorts of types of materials. There's filament that has oh, there we go. Okay, this is the perfect video. So it would basically be like this. Yeah, and then it moves incrementally upwards.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah.
way that it's I guess the way that it's kind of drawing it out. I imagine, yeah, you would probably have to do a lot of sanding because it would almost look like rivets in where like there's like rounded surfaces would have like rivets around it pretty much because you're like making like it's like you said like layers on top of layers, so it would it would almost look like tiny staircases pretty much. I would imagine. Oh, that's
Kind of.
cute.
Yeah, this is the 3D print that I did. Um, yeah, so you can change like the layer height as well. So like for more thick layers, like you're gonna get that kind of staircase effect as you were saying. But you can get like with a really high quality 3D printer, it's almost seamless the way that it looks. You can certainly do some like finishing and sanding, but yeah, you can. There's so many different ways to customize it. There's like different filaments have different melting points. You can get filament that has, I think, even some have even carbon fiber. I'm pretty sure. Um, let me see
Oh,
here.
wow.
Uh, Carbon fiber. I've seen, I think, even some like mixed with glass. I believe. Let's see here. Yeah, all these different types of plastics. Thank you. Yeah, you can get silk, which has like a different type of like color to it. What else? Yeah, carbon fiber infused. Not sure what you'd use this for. I guess more like structurally sound prints that you would need, like actual like parts that are under stress, maybe for like ghost guns or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, there's fire retardant, nylon. Yeah, there's all these like tons of plastics. Oh yeah, wood PLA. So this has like I think a mix of like 20 to 30% wood in it. Yeah.
This is so cool. I thought it was just like plastic,
Yeah, I
but
mean
I
that's
I
that's the majority of it, but it's just like different blends of plastic. There you can get some like biodegradable stuff. You can get plastic that's not so biodegradable, so harder to recycle. That's the other thing people have to keep in mind is like you're gonna have a lot of mistake prints, so you got to be able to have some kind of a mechanism to like process it properly. Because throwing this out in the landfill is like it is not ideal. You definitely want to have a proper
yeah,
recycling for that.
yeah. Imagine it takes a lot of patience too, because depending on like how like a model is made, there might be like holes and stuff, and there could be holes present in your 3D print. And yeah, I imagine that would be yeah, it's probably a pretty frustrating ordeal.
It can be, yeah. It certainly can be. But there are, let me see here. There's actually quite a few like things that you can 3D print. Like one of the great things that I've seen like for artists, if they want to have like a figure, it would be cool if they could print like a little dummy that they could pose. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
that's so cool.
yeah. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do. Let me see here. The whistle. Oh yeah, I 3D printed this one. It actually this whistle actually does work and it is very very loud. My cat fucking hated it.
Really?
So yeah, yeah, you'd be surprised. But yeah, I used that thing indoors once and my ears started ringing and I was like, okay, that's enough of that. Yeah. But yeah, the thing that I like about it is that it essentially allows you um to alter the way that you interact with your environment on a day-to-day basis so that you're not beholden to IKEA or any other store where like, oh, I need this like little piece, I gotta go somewhere out and buy it and somehow like custom fit it to whatever need I have. Like no, you draw it up in Blender, or better yet find a design that chances are someone's already made because they've had the same frustration as you. Like, oh, like you're tired of dealing with toothpaste? Well, here's a little thing that someone made that'll help you squeeze out every single last drop of your toothpaste there, by all means.
Oh my god, that would be extremely convenient. I just like corkscrew toothpaste.
Yeah, or like you want a phone stand? Like, yeah, by all means. Like, don't buy one that's for $20. Like, here's a little thing. Um, you could even make some with depending what the materials, you could even make something like this, and just like kind of like chain mail.
Oh my god, my eyes. My eyes are like, this is so interesting. It's just so it's like it acts like fabric, I guess. Well, I guess yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess it would be. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. It would be like it's so small that all the individual pieces they just shift and move in a way that's like fabric. Yeah, there's a lot of silly stuff like, oh, you want to print your cat like a Batman mask, like by all
I might
means.
get that for for my cat.
Yeah, right on. But no, it's great. Like I love it. Like if I ever have like a broken piece around the house, like now I know like, oh, okay, I can just make something that that'll help me manage that or fix it or what have you. Yeah, and as you said, there's a lot of like models and busts and like stuff for video games and whatnot. There's a lot of people that use 3D printing for the various conventions, and that's how some 3D printers make a living. They get all the cosplayers to make like a custom order for a piece that they're working on, um, and they will actually like 3D print like an Iron Man mask or something like that. And some 3D printers, what they'll do is they'll have, um, let me see if I can pull it up here. Some 3D printers will have multiple filaments that they can load at once. And there's one guy that he has this one channel where he really does a deep dive into it. Yeah, I think it's this guy, Dio 3D, where he 3D printed like the armor entirely out of 3D prints. Like an actual life
Oh my
size
god, and it
armor.
moves?
Well, he's in it, but yeah.
It's got like mechanisms and stuff on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it can be as crazy or as simple as you want it to be. No, I encourage everyone to like if you have a couple $100 to spare, and you want to like pick up a new hobby that I think is gonna go huge in the coming years, it has never been a better time to buy a 3D printer. Like there's a lot of Chinese brands. I think Creality, believe they yeah, they have these like giant printers. Like I said, you can have like with filaments that are just side loaded and different colors and plastics so that you know it just switches them mid print. But there's even really, really basic ones like the one that I have. Let me see if I can pull it up. Very simple. $200. This thing will stand on your table. It's actually fairly quiet. You can go to sleep with it in the next room, no problem. Setup is fairly quick. The hard part is just, as I said, making sure that the bed is level. But once you have that done, as long as you're good with just using one color filament, like, yeah, you're all set.
This is so cool. I might do some research on that because yeah, there are some sculpts that I've done in in the past that I feel like would be pretty cool to have physically, like on my desk.
Well, especially like since you've done like game design, like yeah, that's perfect. If you're familiar with like Blender or any 3D printing or 3D modeling software, um, then yeah, you could importing it to a 3D printer program is actually very, very easy. You just have to make sure that the scaling fits like the size of your printer, that you have enough filament and all that. And it's fairly cheap. Like a spool will cost you maybe 20 to 30 Canadian. Like you just buy it on Amazon. um Very, very cheap. So like even like the shit prints that don't really work out well, okay, so what, I dropped like maybe 20 cents on that. Okay, whatever, on to the
Yeah,
next one. But yeah, no, I only
yeah. This
mentioned
is
it. Sorry, go ahead.
this is a yeah. That was a very like a very informative like little crash course on 3D printing. Now I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, it's very accessible. I totally understand why people would be feel daunted by it, but like speaking as someone that has like no coding or 3D modeling like experience, it's surprisingly easy. Like I said, the main challenge for me, at least with my printer, just because of how old it is, it's been the bed leveling and making sure the temperature stays consistent. But if you buy like a newer model for like 400 or 500, like that's really not an issue that you have to deal with for the most part. I just got like a secondhand one, so it's a little bit of a fixer upper. But once you have it running, once it's level, it's like, okay, cool. At any given moment, like, okay, I'm going to work for an 8-10 hour shift. Well, all right, I can set a print so that it starts in the morning or goes into the late night. And by the time I get home, it's going to be done. And then you can also, you know what a Raspberry Pi is?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So you can hook up one of these bad boys to your 3D printer so that you can actually manage the prints from your home. So, um, you can buy like a shitty, what's it called? Blink camera for Amazon for like $20 or something. And you could even 3D print a stand that fits to the printer so that it points at your bed when it's printing. And then using the Raspberry Pi, when you hook it up to the printer, you can monitor it. So if it fails at any moment, you instead of like having to, the print keep going, you could just look at the cam and be like, oh, okay, well that's failed. Let's just put a stop to that. I'll figure it out once I get home. Easy peasy.
How would the Raspberry Pi be able to connect to the 3D printer? Would it be server side or client side?
So the 3D Raspberry Pi, you would need to connect it to the USB port of the printer, and depending on which model you have, I think it's just micro USB for the most part. But yeah, you just connect it to that, and then most Raspberry Pis, at least the new ones, they do have like a Wi-Fi module, from what I understand. So you just connect it to your home network. You can create a server. I forget what it's called. Raspberry Pi 3D printing. Let's see here. Octoprint. Yes, that's what it is. Yeah. So there's a whole guide written of like, you just connect it to the USB, and using Octoprint, it helps you manage um, everything that's going on with your print there. So I don't know what that would look like connecting it to your phone. I haven't actually gone that far yet. I still need to get a Raspberry Pi, but yeah, it's certainly doable. A lot of people do it, and you could even, instead of getting a cam, you could get just one for the Raspberry Pi instead.
I had no idea. This is a completely different like world of a completely different world. I had no idea that this was possible. I thought you just had to just kind of sit or either go to sleep and wait for the 3D print to be done and then wake up and then hopefully it's not shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could even. I would be genuinely surprised if this wasn't already a thing or someone's already working on it. But like, you could probably make like a very basic or use an open source AI model to even like detect when you have a failed print so that it stops it like automatically. I would imagine that's either already existing or is soon to exist, because that would also be like even much easier. Because there's actually what some people do to make money is they create a 3D printer farm. So they will have like a warehouse or something where they just have 3D printers stacked on top of each other, just constantly running 24/7, and they'll sell like little, like fidget toys or what have you on Amazon, or even do like special orders for certain clients. Um, so I'd imagine that they have a very robust network to deal with that, because having someone to have to go in and check on the prints every time would be very labor intensive. But yeah, I would be surprised if the AI integration hasn't come in yet, because that would be a very, very useful tool.
Yeah, looking at these farms, it reminds me of reminds me of a crypto farm, and then it also reminds me of that one that exploded.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's very similar. Which one was the one that exploded?
I don't remember. I have no idea where this one was, but I know I saw pictures in it that just looked so it looked like it was covered in like ash and soot. It was yeah, it looked gnarly.
Oh, gotcha. Because the other thing that
I
came to
imagine
mind.
that like
Oh, go
I
ahead.
imagine the power that it would take to run like a printer farm would be like astronomical.
Yeah, I think it's fairly high, but you can offset those costs by you know selling your prints. Like I said, like people like do it all the time on Amazon, or better yet, what's that one site? People sell their stuff and paintings and whatnot. I forget. I think it starts with an E or something.
Oh,
Oh,
Etsy.
Etsy. There it is. Yeah. You could probably find a lot of 3D printed stuff on Etsy, I'd imagine. Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, something like this would probably come from a 3D printer farm.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, little desk buddies.
Those are adorable.
Yeah, and they're only $1.87. Very, very cheap. Canadian too. Not even American.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But no, when you
Remember the
mentioned.
last time?
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I remember the last time I went on Etsy. I am a huge fan of the Souls games, and I wanted uh, one of the rings, the Ring of Favor and Protection. I wanted one of those to wear, but it was it was a little. Oh, is that one $60?
68. Yep.
I was gonna say the rings that I found were expensive, and I wasn't able to afford them.
Yeah, this one looks like it's just made of brass.
Yeah, I guess I'll eat my own words because I remember they were a very pretty penny.
Oh, I'm sure like that like if I sort like high to low, you're definitely gonna find something. Oh yeah. Well, $200, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, the rings in the game are they're so cool looking, and I feel like I guess on like based on my personal style, I feel like it would be a very good accessory. It's also one of my favorite rings, so I guess it has some kind of sentimental value to it.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Not much of a ring guy myself. I used to have a mood ring when I was in high school, and then I realized, oh, this just changes color based on my heat. This is stupid. This isn't real. It doesn't sense my mood. I fell for it.
Oh, it's based on heat? This entire time I thought that it was real.
Wait, are you fucking with me?
No.
Yeah, it's just heat. Yeah, mood rings just change based on heat. Yeah, how would it detect your mood?
I don't know. It could have been like a I don't know.
No, no, it's like yeah, it changes like based on heat. It's like it's like a gimmicky thing. It's not actually real.
Well, what about the rings that when you get so angry they break?
I think that's just like you gotta flex your. First of all, who the hell is breaking rings that they're like so angry? What kind of is that even a thing? I don't even know what to look for here. What do you mean like when people get so angry that they break? I've never even heard of that.
I heard that there was a mood ring where if like there is like the colors that change, but if you get like angry to a certain point, like the ring will like snap. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think that was just like a cover up for them saying that their ring is really bad quality.
Yeah, yeah, probably that. But no, it's for my understanding, it's all based on like the temperature and whatnot. Like I don't know what kind of material they use, but yeah, I'm fairly certain that's where it comes from.
Man, now I feel like I've been fooled my entire life.
Yeah, learn something new every day. Um, but when you mentioned that crypto mining thing, it actually reminded me. I'm not sure if you heard of this, but there's actually a sauna in New York that uses the heat from the GPUs when it comes to Bitcoin mining to heat up the actual facility.
What?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they use the heat from like the mining rigs to actually to heat up the sauna. So it's dual use. They save a lot of money doing that.
That's working smart. I imagine that sauna's probably the hottest sauna any sauna could be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of setup they have or what kind of miners they have, and even if they still mine Bitcoin, if it's even worth it at this point. But I mean, yeah, I guess that's one way to do it.
Yeah, if it's one way to utilize the extreme heat, yeah, I guess that would be a pretty smart thing to do.
Well, yeah, I even know a family friend of mine that in the winter, he lives in this small town in Ontario. In the winter, they set up a heat pump from his mining rig to go to, uh, the ventilation of the house, and that's how they heat their house in the winter. Like they don't even bother, using the floorboards or anything like that.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. I remember using my old Xbox 360 to heat up my room when it was really cold. Because
What?
I don't know if I don't know if the heater in my room at the time when I was a child worked super well, but that that Xbox kept me warm all the time.
Did you just like have it like set to like a tube or something to like just air out in the room or?
No, I think that Xbox is on its like last legs because the like I remember playing Halo 3 on that thing and it would it would sound like a jet and I remember like being like drenched in sweat after like a very sweaty a very sweaty couple of hours of playing multiplayer. It was definitely not because I was sweating in the game because I
Wow.
sucked at that game.
Interesting. I've never, yeah, I don't think I've ever had like a piece of tech like heat me up like that well. Um, wow, that's okay. Jesus Christ, that Xbox was putting in overtime.
Yeah. I guess it's not really surprising to hear that, like, not too long after that, it just never worked.
Yeah, they will. They will certainly do that.
Yeah.
Like with I think the PlayStation that I have, like I had to take it apart when I got it secondhand and like clean it out, and just the amount of dust that I found in it was insane. Like I had to uh, take out the motherboard, apply new thermal paste and everything, and thankfully it ran afterwards. But yeah, like some of these consoles, man. I mean, I've heard of like even melted discs back in the day growing up. That like if you didn't check the dust filter every now and then, your disc would literally melt in the tray.
Yeah. PS5s have that issue now. Like they have the USB ports on the back of the PlayStation and it just like completely melts USBs.
Hmm.
There was a there's a fighting game tournament that happened recently where that was happening a lot where like the PlayStation 5 would heat up to a degree where they would have to basically like yank out the cable because it was like so hot that it was going to like liquefy.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's nuts. That's a
Yeah,
crazy
like
amount of heating.
yeah, and like I imagine that it's probably because the PS5 was probably on for like an extremely long time, but also you'd think that at a point like people manufacturing like consoles and stuff that there would be like a better cooling system in the I guess internals, but yeah, they they absolutely cook USBs.
Hmm. Interesting. Because I know that you can actually 3D print some like not fans, but hold on, PlayStation cooling. Um, Pretty sure. Yeah, yeah. You can make like a front air like exhaust duct to put on your PlayStation, so that it would actually like collect the air going through and then put it directly into the fans. Yet another useful thing for 3D printers is yeah, you
Yeah,
can use it for cooling, or even like an air intake.
that's so cool. You could probably do that with like a computer too.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. You could definitely uh, even you could probably even like set up. You could probably create like a fan, um a 3D printed fan. You would just need to like have like bearings and actually build it from scratch. But no, it's certainly doable. It's good for like if you have like a notebook, you can like 3D print like a little stand for it. But
Yeah,
otherwise, like yeah, you could definitely have some kind of a setup there where it just gets you fans, yeah, the grill covers and whatnot. Yeah.
it's crazy how how just like a, a random person on the street is just like I could probably make a better fan system than Sony.
Yeah, no, that's one of the great things about living in today's time is that like anybody with the wherewithal, as long as like they're just frustrated by a problem enough, they're like, oh fuck it, I could make something that's better than this. And there's all these tools out there where you can just do it. I mean, like for the longest time, I've been using Adobe for like editing like episodes here, like Photoshop and whatnot. And I'm just so frustrated with how badly optimized it is for the hardware that I was like, there's got to be a
Yeah.
better solution for this. There's just like I hate getting the stupid crashes all the time. This is insane. And then lo and behold, after some googling, I was like, oh, there's like an open sourced image editor that has just about everything that Photoshop does. Where is it here? It's a very simple one. It's called GIMP. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Oh yeah, GIMP is incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. Very, very simple. Like all the tools and layers and everything is just basically like Photoshop. I'm sure maybe some of the brushes and textures that you have aren't as good, but I'm sure you can find a way to port them over. Um, yeah, GIMP is great, or one that I've really gotten into recently is I think it's DaVinci Editor. It's used by Hollywood editors also, and it's free to use, so you don't have to pay anything. And the free version is like really, really good at what it does. It just optimizes the hardware a lot more. It's really good for animation as well. Um, so it's the perfect software. And also, like Adobe costs $200. Like I'm not shelling out that money. Come on.
Yeah. I remember I remember when I was paying for the subscription for Adobe, and yeah, it was something else. That was a whole ordeal in itself. Um I I was looking for like I was looking for specific textures to kind of like implement into my work. And the only ones that I found on Google Images were the Adobe stock stuff. So I figured, I'm like, yeah, you know what, fuck it. I'll just get an Adobe stock subscription and like use it up for all the images that I want, and then cancel it. Little did I know that I would not be able to cancel it, and I would end up having to get an entirely new card from the bank because they
Wow.
kept billing me for this subscription that I had no idea how to get rid of.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have everlasting beef with Adobe. After that, I strictly started just using Procreate on my iPad. And whenever I'm on my computer, I would use a program called Krita or Krita. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but their brush engine is like very good. It's definitely not Photoshop's brush engine, but the the brushes that you are given are very good. They are awesome, and I'm very happy that I spent my one-time purchase on Krita. It it was it was a worthy investment. It also wasn't even that much either. I think it was like $10. Also, I think you can get it for free. Yeah, you can get it for free.
Yeah, and it's open source, which is fantastic because people can take and be like, "Well, Creed missing these features, so I want to build it out for myself." And the next thing you know, it's going to be even more popular. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Like, I guess going back to the frustration thing where you're just like, I'm just gonna do it myself. That's pretty much like I guess the building blocks of like why I do the stuff that I do now, where um I like I got frustrated like constantly asking to get things drawn for me when I was a kid, and my family got frustrated drawing those things. And I'm like, I'll just kind of build up the skill and draw the things that I want to see. And I feel like I do a fairly decent job of that. I am my own worst critic, of course. I guess that's kind of a given when it comes to artists. They love picking apart things. They love seeing like the tiny flaws that they do, and then like that tiny flaw will pretty much make up how you perceive your work, uh, which is a shame. But I guess that's kind of it's always going to be around. One thing I definitely figured out how to do recently was to stop, stop working on something and like actually finish like something, like actually like look at it and be like, can I do more with this? And if not, I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to call it done. And because I would over detail things, I would over like not even just over detail like a whole painting, but like one part of it where it is completely like visually lopsided, and it is yeah, it's just like very messy, and you're like, why didn't I just say I was done when my heart told me I was done.
Yeah, I get what you mean about the frustration. That's it's a theme that I'm encountering time and time again, whether it's artists or other people that I interview. Um, that's a very good instinct to lean into, because chances are there's something that will come of great use to you, like on the other side of that, especially if you can actually do something with that frustration. I mean, it's one thing to be like frustrated about a parking ticket, not how much you can do about that, but it's
Yeah.
another thing to be frustrated at, like, oh man, this tool I keep using, it's not giving me what I want. There's got to be something better. And the more that you lean into that instinct and actually find an avenue to go through and, make it through the other side with either a new app or new tool or what have you, new technique, uh, it adds to your growth in a way that, like, nothing else can. It's an absolutely great thing to lean into. And as you were talking about, like, the instinct to know when um, your piece is done. Another thing I've heard artists say, just to echo your point there, is that it's not really, there's no like percentage meter that, like, as you're painting something, it's like it reaches 100 and you're like, okay, I can walk away from this. Like it's more of like
Yeah.
a feeling, as you said.
Also, a really good thing is like once you get to that point, uh, you kind of like what I would do with long projects would be I would kind of like see what my see what my mind says. If my mind says that we're done, then we're done. And then I would pretty much zoom out of the canvas to the point where I can just like not see it anymore and leave like the window open and just kind of like just like not even look at it for a while. Um so that because like once you're in the zone, you're painting something, like hours go by, your eyes get so used to seeing all these like all these flaws and stuff that which might not even be flaws. uh your eyes are so like rusty, and then you kind of take take a break, you let your eyes refresh, and then after that long period of time I look at it again, and then I kind of see like what I actually saw, and fix things that I think need fixing, or if something, like if I come back to it and I'm like, this is actually pretty good, I think I'm good with this, then yeah. But that rarely ever really happens because there's always something that needs editing. No art piece is ever really done.
Mm, interesting.
This here, that video there, someone was asking me how I applied color. Uh, this was like fairly early on to like just basically just kind of explain like a color pass, because this project here was basically just like it was a blue team and it was a red team. So there wasn't a whole lot to really like color in terms of like there isn't like a ton of colors that I have to think about. It's just either red or blue. So a color pass was really good for this, and just kind of fucking around with the layers and seeing how like the seeing how like some shades of blue work well with what I've done, and all these things. And yeah, like the I don't work like this anymore, mostly because uh I feel like it's just I feel like personally it's a little too much work to kind of do things in black and white and then color them. I'd rather like have the colors kind of in like in my mind, and uh work with that instead. And then if I like something, that's like I already colored and I kind of want to see what it looks like in black and white, I might actually just go with that instead. So at
Hmm.
a certain point, it kind of feels like coloring it was a waste of time. But yeah, I always have two versions of something. If I do anything like that, I always have two versions of a painting. I have one that I wanted to see in black and white, and then the other one is like untouched with like color and stuff. I don't usually post the colored stuff, especially the Godzilla ones, because the 1954 film is very influential to me, and I also love how old black and white films look like. So the like the whites are very present, the blacks are also very present, and then like anything in between is a like a complement of the two. And I wanted to kind of pay a little homage to the older movies. And plus, when I think of Godzilla, I think of the old 1954 one because that was kind of the one that I grew up with. That one and Final Wars. Final Wars is amazing. It's probably one of my favorite movies. And then probably Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla is like up there. I think it might be number two. 1954 is number one. Shin Godzilla is number two.
Oh my god, they brought out the entire Godzilla ethos for this movie.
Yes, it's like the Smash Brothers of Godzilla.
Is that baby Godzilla in the middle there? What the hell?
Yes. The
Oh my
cool thing
god.
about Baby Godzilla is that actually I don't know if I want to go deep into the lore of Godzilla because there are so much there are better people that can explain it a lot more than me, and there's also people that probably know a lot more of it than I do,
Oh, by
and
all
I don't
means.
want to
By all means,
yeah,
give
I
your
don't want
take.
to
By all means.
the I think Baby Godzilla uh there is a movie where Baby Godzilla grows up.
Oh my god. It actually is a baby. Jesus. Wait, no way. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
He's in a car, like a real sized car. Oh, wow. That's adorable.
I'm still going through the like watching the movies and stuff, but there's one I I don't remember. I think it's Godzilla 2000. I think Godzilla 2000, I think that Godzilla is Baby Godzilla. At least I think it is, but I could be very wrong. Uh which I actually might be. That is a very funny image. Seeing a guy in gym shorts and this like top hat as Baby Godzilla.
Wow. I mean, I know that the lore with Godzilla is deep, like very, very deep, and there's like all these things and the Monarch sisters and all that and the Easter eggs, but man, that's wow. Japanese really love their Gojira.
Yeah, the they made him a citizen in Japan. I
They
think
made
he's
him a
like a
citizen.
certified citizen, and I think they made like a town after him as well. He even's got there's like a picture of uh of Godzilla getting his like citizenship, and he's got like a sash on and stuff.
Oh, there's all these Godzilla rocks and statues.
Oh, that reminds me. Uh that reminds me of a there's like a canyon or there's a place in Japan where pyrotechnics are like heavily encouraged. Like you can like it's so like out of the way. you can just have like explosions, you can like have everything, and the I'm trying to find the name of it.
How is it linked to Godzilla?
I don't know if it does. I know that it's in the same kind of realm as like how the how they're made and stuff, but yeah, I can't find it. That sucks. I'm sure I'll probably find it when I'm not thinking about it, but
Oh, I'm sure AI will help us out. I use Perplexity for just about everything. Highly recommend that you use it as well. It's a very, very great tool. So it looks like it's Toyokawa City. They have firework festivals. Is it like in the city or like out in the countryside somewhere?
it's like a it's like a oh, I found it. It's Mount Iwafune. If you've ever watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and there's like a episode where the Green Ranger and the Red Ranger are fighting, like all of a sudden they jump to like a just a just jump to a mountain from like the city. They use this place like religiously.
No, for all their pyrotechnics. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like a staple when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm sure, maybe Godzilla, maybe someone used it for Godzilla at some point. Um,
Oh wow, they
no,
have a
I
whole
don't think
tour
so.
that they do where people can like experience explosions.
Yeah,
Interesting. Wow. Okay. I mean, yeah. I guess I've always wondered,
it's
yeah, where they
awesome.
filmed that, and I get in Japan, yeah, that would be the place for it.
Yeah, I like how they just have like it's just a dedicated spot where they they just bring all of their pyrotechnics and the all the all the stunt actors in their suits are just like they're just beating the shit out of creatures. It is awesome. It's probably my favorite kind of thing to watch.
Yeah, I remember seeing it growing up. Um, like before I'd head out into school, and you have either recess or the Weekenders or Power Rangers on Family Channel,
Yeah,
and
classic.
yeah, Power Rangers right before school. That was a time honored tradition. I wonder if they're still.
It just brought up a
They must still be doing stuff, right?
not Saban hasn't done Power Rangers since Super Mega Force. I'm pretty sure. I think they lost they either lost the license or they just don't have it anymore. But I know Super Sentai, they have been doing it for years, like years and years. There's even a there's even a series before Mighty Morphin called Jetman, and uh
Oh,
yeah,
huh. Interesting. Yeah, that's basically Power Rangers.
yeah, Japan has been doing it for since the 70s, and like then uh then other characters kind of branched out where it's like the same kind of formula where they are like Power Ranger like characters and they fight like Power Ranger like villains. And yeah, it is like in my opinion, there's nothing cooler. There's nothing cooler than seeing like multicolored people in suits with really cool helmets beating the shit out of out of like freaky creatures.
That's interesting because I've never understood where Japan's like fascination with that comes from. I get that like Godzilla is an allegory on Japan's history with nuclear power. Um, the mech stuff I could never understand because I get the like the anime tropes of like fan service and whatnot. Because from what the I I interviewed this one guy for another show that I do, and he lived in Japan for quite a while, though he's from America initially. And he basically told me that because Japanese culture in your day to day, it's so emotionally calculated that people are very, very careful with how they express themselves out in public. That anime and manga is one of the few ways that people could really like express themselves and go wild with it, which is why like they just have these crazy weird tropes that like compared to western media it's not uh it's just so much more crazy that it comes off as very weird sometimes, but to them it's like
Yeah.
it's a normal like part of their society. But I never understood the fascination like with mechs and where that comes from in their culture, like just all these the mechs or Astro Boy or what have you, Gundam, or what else? I can't even. There's too many to think of, but like they have this as like a classic trope. I've never understood it. Do you happen to know why that is, or?
Not not off the top of my head, unfortunately. I know Gundam is loosely like kind of like the Cold War, where like they're like, oh, we have a like the Gundam is pretty much like a nuke.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like their parts have like nuclear kind of nuclear reactors and stuff. There's certain spots on like a mobile suit where you like cannot like attack or else like a nuclear explosion will happen. Um, yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but uh I don't know how I don't know where Ano decided to like come up with like Evangelion, but I remember I remember watching this when I was a kid, and it it stuck out to me like so much. I don't know if I'd be able to watch it now because I'm a lot older. Uh but it still does hold a big place in my heart. Also the designs are top notch.
Oh, I would
Have
definitely
you
recommend.
watched
Oh, I'm big fan. I love Evangelion. I would highly
yeah.
recommend watching it as an adult just because like the themes and everything they talk about, it makes a lot more sense when you're an adult. I find like I never saw it as a kid. I saw it first I think when I was like my mid 20s. Um
Yeah.
and it's one of those series that I have to very like I have to ration it. I can't just like rewatch it or have it play in the background. Like if I am gonna watch it, I have to give it the due diligence and respect that it deserves and actually sit
Yeah.
down and try to consume the episode and think about the themes and how I feel because it's it makes me feel things that no other piece of art can in such a unique way that I have a hard time putting into words that I want to make sure that I treasure that feeling and I don't just simply like um use it frivolously. Like I don't feel
Yeah.
that same way watching Family Guy reruns. Like I don't care. I'll watch Brian get run over, 10 times. Like I don't, or like Stewie beat the shit out of him and ask it for his buddy or whatever the hell. Like I don't care. I could do that with South Park too. But um, with Evangelion, like yeah, just the animation quality alone. Forget the story. It is of such a different caliber compared to other media that exists elsewhere that it just I find that I have to be very selective with like when I watch it. Like well, ideally I like to watch it in the summer because it's all the set is or the show is also set in the summer and I'll hear the cicadas in the background as I hear them on the screen too.
Yeah.
Um and there's just something about watching those scenes, the sunsets or those summer nights that they have in Miss Masada's the apartment there. Um, yeah, there's just something that I like about the summer vibe that like I feel like I have to rewatch it every like third summer or something like that. It's fantastic. I could not say greater things about it. It's an amazing piece of work.
I have to, yeah, I'll have to sit down and rewatch it. Do you also watch the rebuilds as well?
So I've really only seen my first like exposure to it was like through Netflix. So when they put out like the original series, with like I think the original ending. So this is before they did like all the reworks and everything.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of the new ones, so I can't really say like how good or bad they are. Haven't really heard anything in either way. But even if you look at like just the amount of content that has been made, I did like a deep dive once, and it is absolutely insane. Because so you have, let me see here. So there's the Netflix series. There's a bunch of movies that they made. Actually, you know what? Here, I'll ask AI. Give me a breakdown of all Evangelion series and films ever made. Because I think they also tried to like remaster it as well and remake it. Um, there's a bunch of like there's a movie that's made of just the last two episodes of Evangelion, which is like Evangelion the End, where they added
Yeah.
some more context in terms of the dialogue and whatnot and explained it more. Because I was watching the show up until the last two episodes, and then it gets into all this philosophy stuff, and I'm like, wait, what the? We were just fighting mechs. What happened? I don't.
Oh
What
yeah. Oh,
happened?
that's Death and Rebirth, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they do like a whole recap and add new footage and then Rebirth is the incomplete version. So there's that. Then there's also the end of Evangelion. There's the revival of Evangelion, just a theatrical release. Um, the rebuild film series, the 1.0, 2.0. There's so many. I've really only seen the first series. Have you seen the rebuilds?
I have. I have seen all of them.
And
Um, there's some changes of in 1.0 and 2.0, which like depending on who you ask, they're either really good or they're like, why the fuck did you do this? Uh, and then 3.0 is pretty much just like its own, it's like its own thing. Like it doesn't retell anything from the show. It's like it's pretty much you realize that once you hit 3.0, you're like, oh, okay, so this is pretty much just like a retelling of the show. And like I when I watched it, I didn't really know how to feel about it because I was so used to watching the show and the end of Evangelion. So it was a little bit of out of left field for me, but I
mm,
still enjoyed what I did see. And then when when 4 point or I guess 3.0 plus 1.0 because naming conventions are what are those? But
yeah,
the when that got announced like years and years and years ago. I imagine wait, no, that was before yeah, it got announced before Shin Godzilla was announced. So he was making this fourth rebuild for like a long time and he needed like a break. So he like made a bunch of like really cool movies in between and eventually came back and I will say that the last rebuild movie I like thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very good. It was also a pretty good send off to the characters. Um, it's if you haven't read the manga for Evangelion, it kind of takes some things from the manga. So you don't have to read it if you don't want to. You can just kind of jump into the rebuilds and you'd be fine. But if you if you do want to read the manga and stuff, I would say it's pretty good. Shin Kamen Rider is probably like one of my favorite movies of all time. I had a if you look at all of the paintings that I've done of 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 the one character, yeah, he I even have like a figure. I'm looking at him right now. Uh he's pretty much like a fidget toy. I I pretty much use him to use the reference for all of the pictures that I that I've done of him, and also as well as the some of the movie stills. But yeah, I whenever I'm like stressed out or if I'm like a little bored, I will just like pose. I'll pose my little figure in his signature positions and stuff. Yeah, he such a timeless design, such an amazing design too. Like taking from the old design of this character and kind of building off of that and not making it look too like crazy because a lot of designs like when they remake a design they're like what can we do to make it look crazy, kind of like the Marvel movies because
Mm-hmm.
I like Marvel movies they love putting trapezoids and 45-degree angle lines on everything. It's yeah but with this like it preserves the old design like so well, and yeah, I immediately gravitated towards it, and I'm like, I'm going to learn 3D modeling to figure to make a model of this guy, so that I can have a model on my computer that I can pose as well.
Right on.
Yeah, it was a very a very intense fixation on that character.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen anything of either of them. I've seen these like figurines and whatnot and like some stores, but I've never really seen the movies, and I don't know the lore. But yeah, well, yet another example of Japan's fascination with mechs and robots and these kind of like heroes.
Yeah, Ultraman is one of the inspirations for Pokemon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's even like there there's Pokemon like um styled uh monsters that look very similar to to the uh to the monsters. There's a there's a monster I'm blanking on the name.
Oh, just browsing.
Tyranitar? Oh yeah, yeah. There's Tyranitar
Oh yeah.
like uh looks like Bemular in Ultraman. BEM? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I see the resemblance. Yeah. Interesting.
Also like the transformation of Ultraman. He's in like a capsule. It's like a yeah, it's like a device that you like press and then you turn into Ultraman and you get real big.
Okay. Kind of like Pokemon, same kind of concept. I get it.
Yeah. Though that could just be my head canon. But I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it being my head canon. I've also never played uh I've never played a Pokemon game past uh Red.
Yeah, same. I played like one of the first two, and I don't know how people can just keep going. I'm not that obsessed with being a completionist. It's just like by the second gym, I'm just like, okay, so is this just the rest of the game? I walk through brush 3 steps, and then I have to deal with an encounter, and then I go and talk to people and get stuff for them, and then I go and do battles and I find more. I don't. I couldn't. I was like, okay, so this is just the whole point of the game. I'm just farming. Like at that point, I'd just rather play Minecraft. Honestly, I'd rather just like cut out blocks of
Yeah.
stone and build something. It just, I don't know. I don't know how people could like spend hours and hours and hours playing them.
Yeah. My one of my best friends sums it up pretty well, where like the newer Pokemon games, like they have a lot of issues, like technical issues and things like that, where like you can clearly tell that the developers that worked on the game were like extremely rushed to get it out like as soon as possible. Um, but aside from all of that, you just you love it unconditionally, and it's one of the funnest games that like you could ever play. But it's only if you are like an avid like Pokemon fan. Like people on the outside will look at like the newer Pokemon games and they're like, why the fuck would anyone play that? But like people who play those games like when they were younger and they still play them, like there is something that's there that's for them, and they could not be more satisfied. Like they will find a ton of fun in a game like that, where like I look at it and I'm like, I I'd rather play something else. But yeah, it's very interesting. I do hope the games get better, of course, but from what I can see from a lot of people that have played them, including my friend, like sometimes uh, they don't need to be perfect. They can just they just got that gameplay loop, and that gameplay loop is all you need.
I guess, yeah. I mean, for me, it was just like I'd seen the show a couple times, and then like I saw the movie, and I was like, oh, cool. So I get to like play as Ash and do all that, and then in the first game I see that, and I'm like, okay, all right, cool. And then when it gets to like all these other games like Black and White, I don't. They're just making up Pokemon at this point. Just I don't know how they even have the ideas to come up with some of these X and Y. I don't even know what that means. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. That's just you're just building off Ruby and Sapphire. Sword and Shield. Like the what is okay? So now like they got swords. Pokemon got swords. Okay, like oh, it's not even. Oh, it's not. I thought it was like a humanoid. No, it's just a dog with a fucking sword in its mouth. And look, I'm not shitting on it by all means. Like, enjoy what you enjoy, have your fun. It's just like as you said, as an outsider looking in, unless you're a fan, this whole thing. I mean, what even is this? I don't know what to make of this. This looks like Digimon. Like this is now getting into Digimon territory. This is just very strange.
Yeah, Digimon's my Pokemon.
At least they have like guns. Like the Digimons actually have like some of them have guns. Like hell yeah, dude. Like by all means.
Yeah, like it's so interesting because like I could like all the things that I have like a fixation on, like people from the outside will just be like, you're fucking dweeb, man. Like fuck you. But like uh but that's kind of like what I like, how I kind of see like that's like my perspective whenever people talk about Pokemon, I don't call them dweebs, of course. I'm just like I unfortunately don't know a whole lot about this, and I I wish I did, but like I don't have the resources for it. But it makes me really happy when like people talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, by all means, have your fun. It's just there's such a huge buy-in. It's like
Yeah.
it's like starting One Piece. It's like I'm not about to get
Yeah.
into 2,000 episodes. Like no, thank you. Even if they're 20 minutes each, like no thanks. Not
Yeah.
interested.
It's that's something.
Yeah. I just had an idea. You could probably even if you're looking to get into 3D printing, you could probably even like make your own um like just figurines and whatnot, or like Godzilla's that would be more articulate with like your vision and design for what the
I
monster
could.
actually is.
I actually could, because right now what I kind of have on the go is um scraping up a bunch of reference of as many pictures of Shin Godzilla as much as possible. And what I want to do is get a bunch of modeling clay and kind of like model him, and then make like a silicone mold, or I guess like kind of put the model in a in like a bed of silicone, and then kind of use that as like a resin, like a thing to cast it as like resin, and then kind of put it in pieces,
Hmm.
and then paint it. I feel like that would be really fun because um I I have like a bunch of like uh model kits, um and I love painting them. Like I have like a bunch of robot model kits, and I love making them look like they've been uh they've been fighting for a long time. So like I put a bunch of like wear and tear on them and stuff, and a bunch of like
Hmm.
edge wear. I feel like that'd be really fun. I'm always like striving to like do new things. Though I do worry that uh the things that I think about doing are a little too far from like what I'm capable of doing at the moment. So it's I guess that's another battle in my head where like I have all these ideas, but I have no means of executing them, at least not yet, because I don't have the proper skills to do them yet.
Well, I mean, even if it turns out to be a flop and you fail, at least you take the first step. I mean, like I didn't realize that 3D printing was as easy as it is until like I saw one on sale and I was like, fuck it, I'll buy one. And then I realized,
That's
oh,
very
this
true.
this is actually like not it's hard, don't get me wrong. I spent many an hour yelling at it and trying to get it to work. It's very frustrating, but it helped me realize like, oh yeah, like most of these prints are shit, but there's one every now and then that actually comes out really nice, and eventually I can actually hone it and get really good at it. So I mean, I don't know, man. I wouldn't let that stop you. I certainly wouldn't
Yeah,
let that stop you. Even if it fucks up, like okay, fine, that's part of the process.
that's true. I do also like learn fairly quick. The piece that you just looked at, the the common writer one, that was my that was the second that was my second gouache painting that I've like ever done. Or not that one. That's keep going up. Keep going, and yeah,
Right on.
that was the. So I feel like I have like a pretty like I feel like I'm pretty good at like learning things, but um the the time to get there, it's I feel like that's kind of what's stopping me. That, and also I have like an expectation where I want it to look I want it to look nice on my first go. That's never going to happen, but
Hmm.
I always have that expectation. And I think that also really puts a damper, or puts like it dampers my like I guess my way of like working, like my mindset while I'm painting stuff, because I always have that voice in my head that's like it needs to be it needs to look a certain way, and it's not looking like that right now, and it's a very it's very shitty, uh but that's something I'm working on at the moment. Hopefully it goes away, or maybe it'll change to be like, hey, do your best, buddy.
No, I know exactly what you mean. I get that feeling too. Like when I first started doing interviews like this, or streams, there was a learning curve that I didn't expect. Um, but uh, pushing like through those mistakes is key, because like at the end of the day, like we're not um we're not working like major deadlines. This is all just a labor of love. This is all just for the fun of the game, the love of the game. Um,
Yeah.
so as long as you're improving over, what you did yesterday or the months before, like I feel like that's really all that matters. Because even like this stream, like I have ideas of like where I'd like to take it and things that I'd like to do. And it's not quite there yet, and it's going to take a lot of work to get there, but it's better than it was when I started. And as long as I just keep making those incremental improvements, then it'll get there eventually. Like at the beginning, like there was just so many things about audio that I didn't know, or video, or even like processing the footage afterwards, and just a lot of mistakes and whatnot. But that's that's just part of the process, you know. Like even with
Yeah.
3D printing, as I said, like a ton of my like I have a whole like 2 boxes full of just failed prints. I remember I had a print go for like 18 hours until it failed, and I came home from work and I was just so disappointed because it looked perfect as I headed out the door to work, and then when I came home, the whole thing was like the printer was just a fucking mess. There were just webs of filament everywhere, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
that's disappointing, but I mean, I got like 70% of the way there, so it's almost there. There's just a couple things I got to tweak left and right, and eventually it'll actually get there. It'll work itself out. You got to trust in the process. I mean, as a painter yourself, or just as an artist, I'm sure that there've been plenty of pieces where you're working through and you're like, God, I don't know what this is gonna look like. I hope it really comes through in the end, though. And then when it does, it just kind of it really diminishes all those like you know self-doubting feelings that you had early on in the piece, where you're like, oh god, this looks like shit, I don't know how this is going to come out. And then the whole piece comes out and everyone on the internet is like, dude, this is fucking awesome, what are you talking about, this is great. But you can't
Yeah.
you can't help but have those feelings, because you see the process, like every brushstroke, every mistake, every eye that you've had to redraw, like exactly how many times you've had to redo that piece every time you look at it. And the rest of us, we see the finished product and we're like, yeah, dude, this is a job well done. This is fantastic. Make more, please.
Yeah. I could probably go a little bit into the process of things if you'd like.
By all means.
It might be a little garbled
That's fine.
cuz yeah. This is my first interview, so I'm like still pretty nervous, but I'm
Oh,
going
we're
to do
chilling.
the best that I can.
This is low stress. It's just a conversation between me and you.
Yeah.
The viewers don't matter. I do this to have a conversation with the artist. I do not, as much as I love the audience. Thank you guys for tuning in, but it's just you and me. That's the whole focus. So it's all good.
uh so I guess I'm just going to find a I'm just going to find an image uh like a painting here that I can find here.
Yeah, no worries.
I guess any of the Godzilla paintings. Um so first I have like a I have like a sketchbook um where I do yeah, this is a perfect one. So basically how I would start is um an idea would kind of like pop into my brain, and uh the image is pretty much like not necessarily set in stone, but there's a very strong image in my head. And usually um if it works really well for me, um I want to kind of put it on paper as fast as possible because eventually it will disappear. And that has happened a lot of the times where I will have like a really cool idea and there's nothing around me that I can't even jot anything down, and it just kind of leaves. But I get a pretty rudimentary sketch of just kind of like what I want like for framing and shapes and stuff like that, like um where I want Godzilla to be. I guess in relatively speaking to this picture. And I take a picture of it and then kind of have it blowed up on my computer. And that's when I do more tweaking and kind of seeing like uh where I can kind of like, I guess, fudge perspective because um sometimes like perspective can like not look that great unless you really fuck it up. Kind of like how people who make 3D movies, like there's like a whole thread of like 3D artists and 3D animators like forcing a perspective. There's like that famous picture of one of the characters from, I think it's uh is it Encanto or is it Coco? But there's like a book. Okay, it's, I guess it's not Coco. Yeah, it's, I guess it is Encanto. There's a there's a character and she's like looking at something. Yeah, it's that right there. Where like you basically like you completely fuck it up to get that shot.
Mm-hmm.
Um that's kind of how I imagine like these buildings and stuff because like Godzilla is like a fucking giant, a like a giant creature. But I wanted some buildings in there, so I wanted like some fairly smaller buildings, uh, just to kind of have like a frame within a frame kind of thing, because I want your eye to go to like Godzilla, in the middle. So I would do a sketch, and then I would I would have I would have pretty much like a bunch of reference. I use a program called PureRef where it's just you just have like a it's a never-ending canvas of things that you can just drag images to. And I use that for like the textures and stuff of like how like I want like the lights to kind of go out or how I want the lights to kind of hit specific parts of the body, and I kind of work at it there. And it's a lot of trial and error. Um, I kind of I talk about my paintings kind of like it's more of an argument. I'm kind of arguing with what I'm working on until it's eventually done, and then we kind of basically resolve the argument. uh, because this specific painting uh, was very stressful to work on because up until this point the previous Godzilla paintings didn't really have a whole lot of detail in the skin, so I wanted to really get that. Uh, I wanted to get that right. So I kind of made some. I made some brushes or like brushes that I have made. I've also taken brushes from like uh artists with like free download links on like DeviantArt and stuff. And kind of make a make like a brush pack for myself of all my favorite ones, and I would meticulously texture uh, pretty much everything here. I don't. I since this was done on Procreate, there's no I don't know if there's a stamp tool in Procreate, but at this time I'm like, there's no stamp. So I also look up artist reference, specifically Noriyoshi Orai, who's super popular with super popular when it comes to Godzilla stuff. He also has a very horrifying Metal Gear Solid painting. um, the way that he does scales is they are like you look at it from like the you look at it from it's like normal size without zooming in, and you're like, this is crazy. But then you like zoom in and you're like, oh, so it's pretty much just a bunch of strokes that eventually become like the texture of the skin. So that's kind of what I did there. And uh yeah, I'm not sure if this is informative or not. I apologize to
No, no, by all
to
means,
the
keep
people
no. It's,
listening.
this is your process, right? By all means, keep going.
Um then I realize that I'm not doing the skin properly. So I open up Blender and I kind of sculpt roughly what the skin texture would be. And I would shine a light on it as to like where the like I shine a light the same direction and the same kind of angle roughly as to what I kind of want it to look like. Just kind of have the light shining down. And I would use that as a reference for the scales. So the scales here are pretty much from like me fucking around in Blender with like a sunlight shining on like a model
Hmm.
because so there are some things that I'm like unable to see like properly, uh, and sometimes my mind just doesn't cooperate with me a whole lot. So I I will like go to I'll go to like Blender and see what I can do with some lights. That's pretty much where I get a lot of my like a like a grasp on lights and stuff is I just kind of make a I make like a rough like model or like rough textures and kind of use that as reference. For the smoke, it is like the smoke and the clouds in the foreground and the background. I use a or I guess I'll go back further. The brushes that I use mostly are like rake brushes because I find that that makes a lot of texture and it's also very true to the um it's true to just like traditional painting because you're gonna get that really nice texture with a bristle brush. So I wanted to replicate that as much as possible because I I there's just something so nice to look at when it comes to like painting with rake brushes. It's very scratchy and like you can kind of see like if you were to paint it traditionally, you can kind of like see it sort of. I guess you can fill in the gaps a little bit.
Hmm.
Um yeah, the so like rake brushes are like a huge thing. Uh Also I have like a the process when it comes to getting like the full painting is very much the same as like how someone would do like a oil painting. Uh, you you lay down a very rough color on everything. Like the sketches there, like the sketches visible, the colors there. It looks messy. Uh, you put the darks in there first, and then the midtones, and then your highlights, and that's the that's like the that will pretty much be my process until I can't draw anymore because it worked out so well. I would say that that is probably the best piece of like one of the best pieces of advice from like looking at videos of people oil painting and all that like because I had a fascination with doing oil painting but then realized that oil paints could possibly kill you and I don't want to die anytime soon. So
Yeah.
I figured that I'll try and replicate oil painting digitally as realistic and as much as I can. And then like once that I guess once that's all uh laid down, the white like the the larger highlights will kind of be present. And then if there's any kind of detail that I wanted to add but uh wanted to make sure that everything else was um present first, I'll do that like later. And I guess that's kind of how I did uh, did the Godzilla here. and the buildings on the left and right. Well, not, I guess, more so the left, not the right, because the right's just darkness. For the smoke, I use like a splatter brush, but it's kind of like an airbrush. You could use either a just like a soft round brush, like in any kind of painting software, and drop the opacity or drop like the fill and opacity down a little bit, and take like a smudge brush, and make sure it's like a rake, and just go to town on the on what you just laid down, and you'll that's pretty much what smoke is. It's a very like chaotic way of like going at doing like smoke and stuff, but it has never done me wrong, so hopefully it helps somebody else. But yeah. Then after everything is finished, I will either put like a canvas texture on it, referring to the gesso, the gesso texture, uh, or I guess that's the term is like impasso. But that, or I just kind of put like a noise texture over it, just to kind of add that extra like rendering. And then if there's sparks or if there's like any kind of like ash or anything like that, I realized that I did not add sparks to this painting, and that was one of my plans. But that's fine, you know. You forget about stuff. But I added uh, some particles, just kind of using like a scatter brush that I've made, and lowering the opacity and probably changing the layer style to like uh maybe like color dodge, or no, sorry, it's screen. That's what it is. The screen layer style on I guess most painting softwares. I guess I'm saying this in relatively to like Photoshop terms, but I think almost every uh painting software has like those kinds of layer styles. But yeah, I think uh that's pretty much it. I At some point I will be doing like live processes of stuff like this. Hopefully when I get the courage. But yeah, I guess to further explain, because I feel like my explanation right now is like dog shit, but it's yeah, that's pretty much what the process is. Sorry in advance.
No, no, it's good, man. It's good. Anytime I have an artist on, I always love to encourage them to explain their process because um this is a theme that's come up in today's episode a lot, is that a lot of this stuff seems inaccessible until you either like actually like try to get your hands on it and try to like try it for yourself, or you just hear someone explain like step by step, like this is how I went about doing it, because it grounds it. Because initially, like when I see this piece, I'm like, I wouldn't even know the first place to start. I don't even know how to draw figures or anything like that. But like going into detail about different brushes that you use, the kind of layers, the fact that you treat it as an oil painting before even um, getting into like the process itself, the fact that you have this segmented step by step procedure when it comes to actually setting up the painting before you're actually going into the final details of it, like that's very valuable. That's extremely valuable, and I would certainly encourage you to, um, if you can, use some kind of like screen recording software or whatever to just create like a time lapse of how you go about this process. Like even if it's janky and there's a lot of like undos that you have to do and remakes and all that, like that's that's all part of it. It's all part of it. So no, I greatly appreciate you going into the deep dive here, because one way or another, somebody is gonna see this and realize, oh, like this actually seems attainable, especially with like the tips that you gave them, and then maybe by them adopting your process, they can even find like a more efficient way of doing it and improve their art going forward. So like, no man, that was as great of an explanation as you can get. So I appreciate you taking the time on that, because this stuff, I cannot stress the importance of like how valuable having these kind of outlets is, even if you're not somebody that's in the creative space or making money from it. Like the world benefits more when people are out there like yourself or like myself or like anyone else when they're creating stuff, even if it's just like for their own enjoyment. Having more of this out into the ether, it there's just there's like a quality to it that I have a hard time putting into words, but the more time that people spend doing stuff like this, the more that we all benefit. Like the fact that this is just something that you fell in love with at an early age, and now it's gotten you this far, or you're actually like selling prints and whatnot. Like that's great. I love hearing stories like that and being able to give a platform to artists like yourselves. Like it only benefits everyone involved, both the audience and the creators themselves. So no man, hats off to you. That sounds like quite a labor intensive process.
Okay, I'm relieved. I also forgot to mention during like the, I guess like why, like I guess how I got here and why I do these kinds of things. When I created this account, I didn't expect it to kind of like go anywhere. I expected it to just kind of do the same thing as my Instagram, where I like I had it for just to like upload stuff. Um, but it felt like work, so I got rid of it. But this account was pretty much created during my time in college because we had a course for networking, and in like my instructor was basically stating that like networking is a very good thing for not just game developers but like anyone that is like looking for work and stuff. And they were like, yeah, make like a LinkedIn, make like a Twitter or an Instagram or a Facebook account or anything like that. And I'm like, okay, I'll just like make a Twitter account. And then the assignment was pretty much to keep it up to date as much as possible, and you'll get good marks on it. So I'm like, okay, I mean, I like a good mark, so I'll keep it updated for the time, and then once college is over, it'll probably just be in the internet dumpster. But like it was like this account was pretty much just for the idea of like networking and stuff, but uh I uploaded quite a few things like afterwards, after college was over, and I met some uh amazing people on here that like if I didn't if I just like left it um if I just left it to just kind of go dormant, I wouldn't have met any of these amazing artists and these amazing people. So I kept it, and I guess it's kind of stuck with me for all these years. I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't do me wrong or anything. I hope I don't do wrong to the account or anything. But yeah, it was mostly just for networking. I wanted to do a. I wanted to have a career in illustration. Specifically like key art for movies and
Mm.
like or games or television or anything like that, because I felt like my other skills, like it's not like I don't have those skills yet. It was either key art or promotional material for anything. Um so that was kind of the idea. Now I don't really know what I'm going to do cuz I'm kind of at the point where like in my relationship with making art where I'm like I have so much fun just like doing it, and just like I have like there's no deadline. I just sit down and I like make something, and then if it doesn't get finished, it doesn't get finished. I can do other things. Um Also the illustrator industry kind of scares me, or I guess the art industry scares me. Um, I I admire the people that are in it at the moment. But for me, I don't think I would be able to stomach it. So the the that kind of career dream is not really in uh in my mind at the moment. I'm not going to say that it's like forever gone because like it I could wake up tomorrow and then the art industry could be like, "Hey, we got so much better." And then I'd be like, "Awesome." But unfortunately, that's not the case. But I'm not going to let that stop me from making like getting more skills and making cool art for uh people to see. And I make a ton of art, but like the stuff that I put the stuff that I put on Twitter is the stuff that I'm very proud of, and I think I would like other people to other people to kind of see that as well. But yeah, it's just kind of the whole point of my social media. If I didn't go to college, uh, or if I did go to college but not for game development or any course with a networking kind of thing, I might not be here, like in this Discord channel. I might be doing something else. So, uh, yeah. So I'm very thankful that that I still kind of kept uh, uploading stuff and uh, yeah, having people see my stuff makes me very happy that there are people out there all around the world uh, that just happen to stumble upon uh my work and they're like, "Hey, that's really cool." They don't have to like it or anything like that. They can just like see it and like if it gives them a if it raises like a reaction or something like that. That's pretty much all I really want. I I used to care about the number. I don't I it's not healthy. I can't really do that much, but
Hmm.
yeah, mostly I care mostly about the connections with the people that I have uh, met on on here. Like, yeah, I kind of they kind of motivate me to stick with this. There are many times where I'm like, man, I could just deactivate this account, uh, and I'd be so much happier. But it's just that the there's just so many people. They're all sweethearts, and I I feel like if I were to just like disappear, I feel like I'd be missing out on seeing all the beautiful work that all the people have been posting. And yeah, I feel like that'd be a greater shame because just seeing all of like seeing like new people show up on Twitter and they're making like incredible pieces like yeah, if I didn't have this account I probably wouldn't have seen any of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm very thankful for this bird app, even though it's not really not what it used to be, of course. But yeah,
No, right on, man. I love to hear all that because it's I cannot emphasize more like just how as I said before, just how important it is to be able to have an outlet like this, whether you're a painter, writer, coder, developer, what have you. Like having this kind of exposure to a global audience and being able to participate in this in this process and show off your work, it it only does it only benefits everyone involved. Like the more that people engage in this sort of activity. Like I have friends that I've been really trying to get them to like come out and be like, look, like you have something that the world would enjoy, and I know that for a fact. And the fact that you're not sharing it is not only a disservice to yourself but to the world. And I realize that that's a hard idea to kind of encapsulate because like, oh, like who gives a shit, like, oh, like who would care about my like my drawings OC Sonic or like whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
who cares about my fanfics or whatever? But I guarantee you that just for just about everybody that is able to make something, there is an audience out there, and it's not even just for the sake of doing it for the audience, but just doing it for yourself. Because at the end of the day, like you never know where the stuff could take you. Like I myself, 2 years ago, I never imagined that I would be in this position now, where I'm able to work for a company remotely, and I get to interview artists in my spare time because in my day to day job, I can't really meet people like that. I don't like. I've never even
Yeah.
gone to like art school or anything like that. I took like art classes in like high school, which I fucking hated, and I did some art on the side. Um,
Yeah.
but I
I can relate to that.
yeah, and it wasn't until that I just started like just posting on Twitter that like one day the CEO of the company was just like, "Hey, how's about you come aboard?" And I was like, "Oh, great!" And then I had an idea for a show, and now we're doing interviews with artists. So you
Yeah.
never know where this stuff can lead you, and the most important step is to just get started and to keep iterating and to keep pumping out stuff, and just to keep making stuff because at the end of the day, like someone's gonna see it and they're gonna be inspired by it or they like it, and you never know what that can snowball into. Um, and doing it just for the love of the game is just as fine. Like you don't have to make millions of dollars for this. You don't have to have thousands of followers. Just being able to engage with people like that, uh, especially if you live in a place where you don't really have that near you, is is so crucial. Especially these days, because I mean, for me, like just philosophically, or not even philosophically, but the way that I see it is like this idea of like a 9 to 5 and being a company man and working for some place for 40, 50 years, it's kind of died out with the past generation. And now we're in
Yeah.
a spot where we're kind of negotiating amongst ourselves, like, okay, how do we now exist in this world where working jobs for like a couple of years is kind of the mainstay and there's this huge creator economy, and the most important thing is just to get started, just to make it. Even if you have a podcast or that has like no listeners, like that's fine. Just put it out there because you
Yeah.
never know where it could lead you.
Yeah. And like, and anyone can kind of do this stuff as well. Like, you just need to put in the time and the effort where like, uh, I guess in terms of doing art, like you can you can buy like a canvas at like the dollar store. You can get some paints. Doesn't have to be like crazy paints, like crazy expensive paints. If paint sticks to canvas, it works. Um, or even like doing stuff digitally. Like if you can if you can like put like paint on a digital canvas, like you're you're doing it. You're making art. Um, the just putting the time into it is very crucial. Also, knowing your body and knowing like when to um when to kind of take a break from things and like when to start back up again, like it you kind of always have that skill. Like once you get that skill, you'll always have it. It's kind of like riding a bike in a way where
Mm.
you're you just you just have it. Um but you got to like kind of take that time to kind of hone that skill. But yeah, anybody can like pick up a pencil and make a doodle. Could be a stick figure. It could be a I don't know. Could be anything. But yeah, art is not like a art doesn't have to be um like it doesn't always have to be amazing subjectively. Uh it just has to be something that you like can resonate with personally.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you could do it anywhere. I mean, this one guy I interviewed for the show in the past episode, Wolfsby. In his off time, he has like a rig set up in his car where like on his lunch break he'll just go. He has like some little pieces of canvas or whatever material, sketchbook, and he'll just do like
Yeah.
water paints. And you could see like his steering wheel right there. So
Yeah. That is
there's
amazing.
yeah, there's no shortage of tools and tutorials and YouTube videos and free books and all these different avenues of making something. And like regardless if it's like actually like drawing it out or painting it or actually writing something, there if you live in a even in a third world country and you have access to internet and just some basic tools, like that, you can create incredible things. And the more stuff that is created, that is put out there into the ether, like just everyone benefits. Because at the end of the day, like even if it's sketchy, even if it's rough, if it's shit in the beginning, eventually it could build into something, and you never know where that
Yeah.
opportunity could lead you. Like you literally don't, like you have no clue where that could go, because you could put out a print and someone could immediately buy it from the other side of the world, and there's your rent money for the next month, and then it encourages you, and you're like, holy shit, I could actually do this.
Yeah. Like John Coltrane did not write Giant Steps in a day. He started out writing dog shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just about every creative that starts has like written out dog shit or just like made something awful at first, and then it only gets better over time. It's like anything else, and especially in today's creator economy, like I've heard this like here and there of like people saying like, oh, like my concern initially was like that the market was saturated or that there's too many people doing this or what have you, but there's always somebody out there that is willing to at the least enjoy what you're making, and at the best level like be actually able to like pay for it and commission works and whatnot. um and there's no telling what can happen. I hate to like keep beating like this dead horse, but like it is such an important point that I think needs to be emphasized more. Just having something on the side that you do besides your day job that allows you to express yourself or just to give yourself room to have a more creative act, like it's necessary. You can't live a balanced life or an enjoyable life without some kind of personal expression. Like if
Yeah.
your whole thing is like writing banger tweets, then okay, fine. Like yeah, that's your thing. Like by all means, like you're just really poetic with 140 characters or 280 rather. Like
Yeah.
that's your thing. Like by all means.
Yeah. They're like, just like, yeah, when it comes to stuff like that, yeah, just be the be the change you want to make, I guess.
Yeah, as
Or
corny
be
as
the
it
thing you
sounds.
want
Yeah,
to see.
yeah, yeah. That's as corny as it sounds. It's absolutely true. Like a I wouldn't have started doing like podcast stuff like this if I hadn't listened to Joe Rogan like way back when before he got famous. And then anytime that he mentioned, he's like, "Oh yeah, this the show that I started, it was absolutely nothing. Like nobody paid attention. All my friends laughed at me. Everyone was like clowning me for starting this show, and now I have the most popular show in the entire world." And
Yeah.
you don't have to aspire to be to that level, but it's certainly like a lesson in like, hey, like if some fucking meathead comedian who has gotten like 10 concussions from like professional fighting, if he can have this show where he interviews like top tier scientists and presidential candidates and whatnot, and it all started in the green room of or sorry, comedy clubs, uh, then yeah, that's just a lesson that like, yeah, you could just do it. You could just do it.
Yeah. And yeah, there's the uh numbers mean numbers mean nothing. It's yeah, it's y- I don't know. I feel like I feel like I'm lying about that, but I don't know. I guess lying to myself because there are still points where I like post something and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is doing numbers." But um at the end of the day, I'm not like it doesn't motivate me to do uh more stuff. Like it's mostly just like I post it and then I still like have the motivation to do like artwork uh regardless of uh how a post does. Like I'll always post something.
Yeah, it's like it's an easy trap to fall into, but at the same time, it's also really good feedback because, um, like sometimes like when I do these interviews, like I'll look back on the views and or like the comments or the likes and whatnot, and if I see a trend of like, oh, I'm getting like very few views on like a couple of these videos, it doesn't it I don't let that discourage me because I know that like whenever you're starting out, it's like you're always gonna have, dealing with small numbers. There's a lot more people that are like way more famous that are getting the views. Like that's fine. Like whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but it makes it that much easier to see like when I do have a spike in views or likes or engagement or whatever. I'm like, oh, like people really like that. And is there it's not that let me try to recapture that exact same thing except like tweak the formula a little bit. It's more like what is it about that interview or that piece that I did that stuck out to people, and is that something that I can replicate moving forward, not as like to somehow like cheat the algorithm, but more so to be like, okay, the way that I went about that actually really worked, and is there like certain aspects of that that I can take from some lessons that I can take from that. They're like, okay, that's actually maybe worth replicating. Maybe I can ask the questions like this, or maybe I can organize a stream like that. Like just getting that feedback is certainly crucial. But yeah, no, falling into the trap of like, oh, I need to get this certain amount of likes, or if this post doesn't get this many impressions, then therefore it's a fail. Like, no, that's like that's just self defeating at that point. But having
Yeah.
some kind of like a feedback system where you're like, okay, this is actually like doing well as well as like your own personal checklist, like do I feel good about what I did I give it my all, did I like give it 100%. That's always like key to keep in the back of your mind, but having that audience feedback, it's certainly good too. Like I remember when I first started streaming, um, I would like read the chat, and I've done like a couple live streams when I did like going back and forth with the audience, and I just had to give that up at some point because I was like, this is pointless. Like some of these people are that are interacting, they don't have my best interests in mind. They don't have the interests of the show in mind, and they're just there to like be shit disturbers or whatever. Which like by all means, like have your fun, but
Yeah.
if I give energy to that, if I like feed into that, or if I like have to start like sparring with them like midstream or whatever, like no, that's pointless. That because that just takes away from the actual art and the creative process of the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. I will say, like, I won't lie to you, the like number go up is fun. It feels good,
Hmm.
but it's not like that shouldn't be the driving force to keep doing the stuff that you're doing. Like there should be something that is like driving you to do these things. Like that's not the number or anything like that.
Yeah, and it's like these days, like this is the sword I'm willing to die on, or the hill that I'm willing to die on, rather, or sword that I'm willing to fall on. That's the actual. That's that's the phrase.
Yeah.
Um, But no, this is the hill I'm willing to die on. That um, right now is the absolute best time to get into the creator economy because we're dealing with like the inception of AI and also like the Mr. Beastification of videos, and people are endlessly hungry for not just for meaning, but just something that is genuine. So if
Yeah.
you're able to come across something like just the way that you come across about going about making your art, whatever it is and whatever medium it exists, in a very genuine and open way of just saying like, hey, this is this is what I do. Yeah, like there's gonna be mistakes here and there, but this is my process, this is how I go about it. um there is always going to be an audience for that, especially with like the oncoming thing with AI. Because I hear like some people say like, oh, like it takes away jobs or has this or has that. Yeah, but at the same time, it puts a premium on anyone that is operating in that same space as AI that still does something that is man made, that is that you could tell had like a personal touch to it. So even like with this like that negativity that people have towards it, I see it as just it actually allows artists more, it gives them more leeway in putting out their work, and it gives them more leverage because they can say like, no, this was 100% man-made, even if it was digital. Like, yeah, I sketched this, I took the
Yeah.
time to create the layer, I did the pre-painting, I formulated it like this is my procedure. It automatically gives your work more credibility and more legitimacy if you just bare your soul open like that.
Yeah, and the like I love when I'll like communicate with an artist or an artist communicates with me about how we do specific things. Like that's probably my favorite thing uh ever when it comes to like any kind of interaction on social media is when people like see something that like you like they see something and it feels like they kind of like know uh your inspirations and stuff like that because I did a painting of a few, like Halo painting fairly recently, and I think it was a esports guy. I think it might have been a Halo like a Halo tournament guy. His name is Taji, and he uh he basically like listed the inspirations that I had going into uh that piece of art, and I never felt so seen in in the comments. It's so like it's so cool how like someone else can see that, but when you're like painting it, you're like, this is like loosely inspired by Craig Mullins or um uh like anyone like that, and you get a comment and they're like, I see the Craig Mullins in this, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even I can't believe someone actually saw that. um Another thing that I really enjoy is criticism, because uh I made a I made a painting like a while back, another Halo painting of uh where one of them is holding a pistol, but how they're holding the pistol, their finger is like it's like death it's like death gripping like the trigger. So like they just be shooting at that point. And I have never fired a gun in my life. I've never held a gun in my life. I just assumed that that's just how people held guns. But this this person um uh basically taught me a term called trigger discipline, which I had
Oh
no
yeah.
idea was a thing. You
Yep.
just kind of have your finger floating around just in case something bad happens, I guess. So uh, I incorporated that into my paintings where people have guns. Like after that, because now I know that trigger discipline is a thing, and um, people um, people look for that kind of stuff. And it's really nice that someone reached out and was just like, hey, this was a thing you didn't do properly. I think that's great. I love that interaction. Yeah, that's probably my favorite thing when it comes to interacting with people. I do love when people are like, this is peak, or this is raw, or this is hard. But like I like when I like when someone like looks at it and they're like, I love how you did this, or this reminds me of this. Uh, that's that's my favorite kind of thing. Uh, and I also really like when fans of specific characters that I draw, they come out and they're like, man, this is so cool. I'm like, yeah, I made it for uh I made it for like these kinds of people, like I made it for them to see because I I want them to see it. I want them to see it and feel something. It makes me very happy to get those kinds of interactions. Like with Common Rider, like I have uh one of my friends on that I met on Twitter uh is his name is Spanky. Spanky Draws.
Hmm.
Uh he is like probably one of the coolest and one of the most stylish like artists I think I've met. He like when Capcom did like hand drawn concept art back in the 90s, he somehow grasped that like perfectly and just ran with it. And I don't know how he does it, but it is so cool. It is so expressive, and like I'll I will never I'll never understand the process, but there like it is so good. It's like music to my eyes looking at his stuff.
Yeah.
I can say the same for a lot of the artists that I follow where I'm just like, how the fuck do you do this? And like it's so cool to see. My dream is to get my just to have like a ton of a ton of artists to follow where my for you page is just full of amazing work. And it's gotten there to a degree now where I can just go onto my for you page and it's just nothing but smiles. Like I just look at everything and I'm like, this is just awesome. Whenever I do go on Twitter, of course. I am kind of going on a little bit of a break of Twitter because I found that the for you page makes me upset and it kind of ruins my day. So I I am like, I'm gonna get off the app for a little bit and do something else because yeah, I don't want to have a bad day.
Yeah, no, that's fair, and I highly encourage you to be very, very liberal with the like you can go like if I go on the for you page right now, um, there's a little setting that you can use, and when you click the three dots, when you say not interested in this post, highly recommend using that feature because I've found that if
Yeah,
you let your for you page just kind of be based on like the kind of stuff that you click and that you like, it'll automatically start filling it with whatever games the algorithm. You can also block certain words from popping up on your timeline, which I've had to do for this account, especially when it comes to like anything regarding like politics or culture war issues. Because like, look, I that's not at all what I'm trying to interact with when I'm doing my work for Outsider Supply. I just want to see art. I just want to see
yeah,
creatives.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
like working on curating your timeline is key. Um, Blocking, unfollowing, like you know, banning, all that stuff. Like it's. I understand that it's tedious, but it does certainly help with like the timeline curation. Because I'm right there with you. Like I like look I okay, great. Like Trump is in the news, but I couldn't give less of a shit. Like I really like I just really I don't care. I don't care what like what other global conflicts are happening. I don't care. I just want to sit down and be able to look at great art, great pieces of art, so I can continue to do my work for Outsider Supply. So yeah, I'd encourage you to definitely like liberally use like the that feature there because it certainly helps. Um,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is tedious, but it's a there's a necessity in the tedium. So
Yeah, because
it's
if you don't curate the timeline is going to curate you, and that timeline is
yeah,
built by nerds in basements that you will never meet, and their goal is to make sure that the company gets as much money as possible, and they don't have your best interests in mind.
yeah,
But yeah, no, right on, man. I would certainly encourage you to start doing time lapse videos, and then even after that, like adding a little voiceover to explain the changes that you made or the brushes that you used and whatnot. I would even encourage you to, if you want, very easy to set up a live stream. You don't even need like super duper like great hardware for it. whether it's on Twitch or on X. X is perfect because there's very few people that actually do stream. So besides like some of the bigger names, you can actually get quite an audience there. And then post recordings of those streams on a separate YouTube channel, because I guarantee you, plenty of people would love to hear uh, more about your process and the inspirations behind your pieces. I mean, it's as you said, like people will just go in the comments and they'll be like, "Hey, like I see such and such influence in your paintings, or I see such and such um, influences there," and people are always hungry for that. So
Yeah.
it's a lot less work than you would think it is, because once you have your pipeline figured out of how to actually go about it, it's super easy. You just do it like once a week or something, and people will definitely be able to to gain something from that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely it is it is a big it is a big thing that's on my mind that I would love to do. I have a Twitch, but I never use it. Whenever I did, I was just streaming video games. Because um sometimes I feel like when I when I stream something, like when I stream art from like start to finish, it's like I can't imagine what it's like to be someone like watching that, because like there are points where it is like it's just so excruciatingly boring to look at. Even as someone who is drawing it, you're like, I'm just like, man, I'm bored. So I can't even imagine how some people would react to something like that. But I mean, the thing is, um, I could just do it anyways, because it never hurts to try to just do it anyways. There's always going to be someone that'll stick around until the end. So yeah, just focus on them. I guess that's kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, don't like the audience is that's a secondary thing. Like Rick Rubin, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he has this quote where like every piece of art that you make should be kind of like a diary entry to yourself. Like that's the most important thing. As long as you can come away from it being like, okay, well I did that. I did it for myself, and uh I'm satisfied with the process. Or even if you're not satisfied, like the whole point is to make it for yourself. And then like eventually like yeah, people will come, there will be an audience for it and all that. And you know, all of that will follow. But if the emphasis is like as I said earlier, like you were mentioning that you're nervous. It's like no, the whole point of this is just it's conversation between you and me. Audience does not matter, though we do appreciate if they tune in. Um, the magic actually happens when we just focus on like just having this interaction like right here and now. Everything else is besides the fact. I couldn't care less of like whether it was the ramblings on Godzilla or whatever. People don't like it. Fine, whatever. I don't care. It was interesting enough for me, and I appreciate the fact that you took the time out of your day to do this, and that's really all that matters. Everything else is secondary to that. It does not even cross my mind at this point.
Yeah, I I appreciate that. It is very reassuring to hear that.
Yeah, man. No, right on. I love doing this stuff because, as I said, like I don't get a lot of exposure to people like yourself in my daily life. So any chance I get to do this, it's always a fun time. But in any case, so we're rounding the 3 hour mark. Just as like
Oh yeah.
final final touches. Yeah, see like see how fast the time goes by. We're just rambling. Yeah, didn't even think twice about it. Uh,
I didn't even notice that it's 4 o'clock over here.
yeah, exactly. Like it's I bet it's almost it's similar to the feeling of when you have like when you're working on a painting. You just look up at the clock and you see it's 2 a.m. and you're like, oh shit, I didn't realize that this much time had gone by. Same feeling.
Yeah, this felt like a 30 minutes.
Yeah, exact. That's the whole aim. That's the whole aim. That means that we're both enjoying the process. So that's the goal. In any case, so you have an art print store that I see here. You have linked to your profile.
Yeah, I am currently in the process of updating it with newer things. Um, but yeah, I also might try something where like um where things might be just a little cheaper because I feel like stuff like my paintings, I don't necessarily know how much they are necessarily worth. So I kind of want them to be reasonably priced for the quality that you're getting, I guess. I hope that I might also not even change the price because I'm looking at the stream right now and it seems like they're not that they're not that bad. Though
Yeah, dude. I would.
the
Sorry. Go ahead.
orientation on some of the the orientation on some of the paintings are like not that good because there's a lot of like white border around it. Maybe I'll fix some up because uh I want it to cover the whole pages. Well, I guess as much as possible, but
Yeah, I would
yeah,
even
there's
encourage you
some
to triple those prices, man. I understand like making it accessible, but dude, for the amount of work that you're putting into these, uh, you could very well like just sell them for 50 to $100 a pop. I guarantee it, and I don't think you should feel bad about that either. But the amount of work that you're putting into this, the amount of um, consideration that you're putting into these pieces, they are well worth that at the least, digital or otherwise. Yeah, I would encourage you to put that as a consideration because I I think that it's one of those pitfalls for artists where they undervalue their work at times, and
yeah, 100%.
yeah, and it's I understand that that's an easy trap to fall into, but uh, you are your own spokesperson. Nobody is, gonna come along and try to say like, oh no, I want to pay you $100 for this print instead. Like that's a moonshot. So I would encourage you to even triple, if not quadruple, these prices because they are well worth that at least.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely a like it is a very known thing where yeah, artists love to undermine their stuff. Well, I guess love is not the proper term, but they do tend to undermine their work because they they don't know how much it's worth, but like any artist that makes anything, they can pretty much price it as much as they want because uh, the time you put into it, also the time that you take out of your day to even think about doing something like that, and then all
Mhm.
the resources and everything like that, like it all adds up.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily about like how many hours that you put into it. It's there's this idea in like the designer world where like I've heard stories of people getting like paid, or asking like for hundreds of dollars or even thousands for like making a logo or any designs, and the clients will complain and they're like, "What do you mean? This only took you an hour?" It's like, "Yeah, this took me an hour because I spent 10,000 hours getting the skills needed in order to get to this point, so that I can make you a
Yeah,
logo this quickly in this quick turnaround time." But the amount of work that went into it beforehand, it's like, yeah, this is exactly why. It's the same thing with doctors. Like the doctors will do the procedure for like a couple hours, sure, but you're paying for everything else that went before that, all the techniques and all the skills they had to learn. So, yeah, man. The other thing that I would also say is that if you don't value your work accordingly, and it makes it like if you do cheapen the price like this, people will have that impression that like, oh, like why is this cost like so little? Did you like use AI for it? Was it just like a quick sketch? Is it like ripped off of somewhere else? So versus like when you
yeah,
have like something that's $50, even $100, it's like, oh, okay, this feels more like a legitimate, like somebody really took the time to make it, which you have. I mean, your explanation on that one painting, we spent like a good 20 to 30 minutes just talking about that alone, and you have like like tons of pieces here. So yeah, I cannot emphasize enough that like, yeah, I would certainly encourage you to reconsider your prices and definitely value them accordingly because you make some amazing stuff, man. Like I came across it on the timeline and I was like, I need to have this guy on the show. These are great pieces.
that is very sweet of you to say. I'm not super great on taking compliments. I apologize, but
That's fair.
thank you so much.
Very few artists are. I totally get it. I I understand.
Yeah.
No worries. But yeah, man. I wish you nothing but the best. In terms of your socials, you just have the Twitter page here.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's at Nui underscore Nono. That's NOUI underscore NONO. Uh, Once again, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to come on. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, of course. It was a pleasure to be on here. I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, right on. So yeah, if you guys want to check out his stuff, we'll be linking everything in the description. Please support your artists, buy his prints while you can before he raises the prices astronomically, so you will get them at a bargain. Um, but yeah, man, I'm looking forward to see what you make in the future, and if you ever get the chance, if you want to come on again, talk about some new paintings, some new pieces, some new inspirations, anything you want to do, we'd love to have you on.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds amazing. It sounds like a plan.
Dope. All right. Well, thanks for everyone tuning in. Don't know when the next interview should be. Maybe next couple days. But just peep the socials and we'll have everything there. So, yeah. Once again, thanks for coming on. It's been a blast.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for having me.